Howdy, Beefalo Bart here, and welcome to my next video. In today's video, what we're going to talk about is the upcoming patch 1.8, and more importantly, talk about preparing for the next global event. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with what's going on, the next global event is going to be Assault. Now, if you think about what we had last time, which we can quickly just hit escape, click on your dossier, and your global event was called Outbreak. And during Outbreak, you had a couple things that were going on. And the reason why we're making this video, by the way, is so that we can get prepared for the next one, which is going to be Assault mode. Now, in Outbreak, when you get close to the enemy, they are infected, and you begin to get infected, and you start taking a buttload of damage. And that's one of the primary things that was there. Plus, you had the headshot modifier and so forth. But in the Assault global event, the primary modifier we want to look at, and what we're going to expect, is the closer you are, you get a damage buff. So if you can get up close and personal, and I'm not sure the exact range right now, I'll have to go through some of my old videos, see if I can find where I was covering the Assault mode whenever it was in the PTS for 1.7. But when you're closer to your enemy, what happens is you get that modifier, and you do a considerable amount more damage. So what does that mean? Well, you need to have a good build, and to maximize your effect and ability to clear through missions rapidly and taking out the bad guys rapidly, whether it's the reds or if it's a named elite, if you can get close to them and sustain the damage, you're going to be able to dish out a buttload, I mean a buttload of damage. So you need to be able to have some way of surviving so you can get up close and you can take them on. Now, my choice for this, and I think would be a pretty good choice overall, is the D3 FNC, or known as the Frontline gear set. And if you're not familiar with it, then I don't know what rock you're living under, but the D3 FNC system, first off, you get on your 2-piece set bonus 15% protection from elite. Then 3-piece gives you an additional 10% damage to elites. We're not really worried about the elite portion of it at this point. When we get to the 4-piece bonus, and no, there's not a 5 and 6-piece yet, this allows you to use your ballistic shield and a submachine gun at the same time. So this is what we want. So to maximize this, what I've got is 3 pieces of the... Now, if you don't have the Ninja backpack, and this is where it's pivoting based on this right here for me, is if you do not have this, then I would recommend using this piece right here as in your pack as a D3 FNC. Chest piece, I'm utilizing a Barrett's Bulletproof Vest. If you don't have one of those just yet, an alternative to that is a classified. If not, then you want a good, strong bulletproof vest, or a good vest that's going to give you electronics. There's a number of different ones you can choose from, but I chose this particular one because it is rolled for electronics. I have multiples of this. In fact, I have 3 more on me, but I probably could modify it and change it a little bit, but this one does have electronics. This one does have health and exotic damage resilience. Not as much worried about skill haste on this build. Electronics, yes. Skill power, yeah. The reason for that is, I'll show you that here in just a moment. But again, this is where I've based my gear set off of, is the Barrett's Bulletproof Vest. D3 FNC mask, again rolled for electronics. Knee pads, rolled for firearms. Enemy armor damage is a nice benefit to that as well. Backpack we just looked at, which is the Ninja Bike Messenger Bag, rolled for electronics and skill power. Gloves, D3 FNC. Now yes, this one is not probably the most optimal. It does have 1271 on the electronics, but it does have LMG damage. I would, however, if possible, try to find one with, or find one with good electronics to where you can actually roll the SMG damage on this one. Alright, the final piece is the holster, and I chose to use a classified gear set item for this because of the numbers you can get off the get-go for all three of these stats. They're all going to be above 1272 and will peak out at 1401. That's why I went with this, because you can get higher stats here. I just happen to have skill haste on this one because with this build I chose to actually use a turret. Now you could choose to use any number of things. I would suggest also maybe a looking into using your tactical scanner or recon, or choosing one of these that suits your needs. But you're going to be doing a lot more damage in general, so using this would probably be good. It's going to give you more critical hit chance, more critical hit damage, and that will be a good way to go as well. And utilizing your mods instead of, like I'm doing for right now, I'm building this for solo use. So I'm utilizing the ballistic shield and I'm using a turret. By using this right here, the pulse, you can actually gain additional critical hit chance and critical hit damage, and that's going to help overall, doing more overall damage. That's going to be a lot better if you're actually in a group, so you might want to consider that as well. And if you're going to go that route, then use your performance mods based on whatever this skill is going to be, whether it's going to be a pulse, if it's going to be a turret, sticky bomb, not a bad way to go as well. Seeker mines, not necessarily a bad way to go. Mobile cover, definitely not necessary. Smart cover, not necessary. First aid, not really as necessary, as long as you keep med kits with you. You know, if you are a little unsure of your build or on how to use it, then you might want to run a support station. But it's a pretty simple tactic to be able to run the turret and the ballistic shield. Now, it doesn't really necessarily matter which one of these you're running, because with the D3 FNC set, you're going to have the same benefit across the board anyway. As you see, with having the stat that I have now, I've got 1.3 million hit points on my shield. Yeah, you're going to get a damage increase of 13.5% and damage resistance of 10%. You're going to increase your threat, which we're not really worried about so much, but that's the whole thing, is having that number right there, the hit points of your shield, because that's actually going to be what keeps you alive while you're face tanking the bad guys. And then you go back into weapons choice. Yeah, you see what my stats are. I'm rolled heavy into firearms and electronics, and not so much in toughness and stamina, but I'm rolled into these two with more on the electronic side. The reason why I'm heavier on the electronic side is so that I can get a stronger ballistic shield, because I know that during the global event I'm going to get a buff in firepower, not to mention having a shield. That's going to buff my firepower as well. So I've got all that going for me. Now, current weapon choice, I'm running a PP19. Couple reasons why I chose that one right there is every other SMG that I've picked up just doesn't match the end numbers up here. I still may play around with a couple different options on that, but currently this is what I'm using because of the fact of a high magazine count, good rate of fire, probably look through a couple other ones that I've got laying around. What happens killing a target with this weapon using Talented, killing a target with this weapon will increase your skill power by 15% for 20 seconds. What's that going to do? Well, it's going to make your shield a little bit stronger for those 20 seconds. So it's a nice little added buff to it. I've got Fierce on this one, which increases my critical hit chance by 5%. And Hurried is going to increase my reload speed by 10% whenever I make a critical hit. Since I'm going to be making critical hits on a pretty regular basis, that means I'm going to get a pretty good reload speed. Now, the mods that I've got on there, for now, I've got 119% and 119.5% magazine size. I could go larger, but what I'm looking for is critical hit damage or critical hit chance. And increased fire rate is a nice buff as well. Scope wise, I'm actually using the C79 with 3.4 by magnification, so that if I do need to make a longer shot for some reason, I can actually zoom in and just do light burst and actually make more precision shots while keeping my shield deployed. I'm using a small muzzle brake that's going to give me an extra 18% critical hit damage, headshot damage bonus, accuracy, and increased red I'm not worried about so much. But all of these combined, while the global event is going on, this complete setup right here, by being heavy on electronics and heavy on firearms, leaning more on the electronic side, your survivability is going to be up. You're going to be buffed because of the shield and because of the global event, so you're going to do pretty heavy damage. Your shield's going to be your toughness factor. You don't have to worry about this number near as much. You might have to bring it up just a hair, only if you need, for a specific weapon that you like, if you need more stamina. Then I would just throw a mod on just to balance that out. So with that, this should give you a pretty good overall layout of how the weapons layout, the armor layout, gear layout, how you should prepare gear-wise for the global event. Now, when you actually think about what's going to happen is the global event is going to be a series of missions, and if you want to see what those missions are, you can actually go into the dossier, go into GE Assault, and as you scroll down, you're going to find a couple different things like, well, we know that it's going to be Queen's Tunnel Camp, Russian Consulate, Grand Central Station, General Assembly, and Falcon Lost. So knowing now what those missions are going to be, then I would go ahead and start doing these missions on challenging mode, grinding through them, and I'll actually start making a series of videos based on each of these so that you can see how challenging mode is going to be for them, and start building up a strategy utilizing this armor set or this gear set to maximize your performance while running those 5 missions. So I hope that helps to get you geared up and set up and ready to rock and roll. And to summarize what's going on here, we just want you to have, I really want you to know how to best prepare for the global event so that you can maximize your farming and try to get as many caches as possible. And this video is more or less just to cover the gear aspect of it. The next couple of videos, I'll do a separate video for each of those missions, and I'll show you what I think is going to be best for them, running them solo or in groups. Alright, well, if you have any comments on this gear, maybe some alternatives you want to see, please leave some comments. Definitely need you to go ahead and give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and please subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Alright, well, I would like to thank you for watching the video, and hope that you found this informative, and I hope you look forward to seeing how I'm going to run Queen's Tunnel, Russian Consulate, Grand Central, General Assembly, and Falcon Lost with these gear sets so that you can maximize your performance of getting your gear. Alrighty, thank you again, and we'll see you on the next video.